With the season premiere of Monday Night Raw happening next week, WWE is certainly doing a lot to try and get your attention. But after tonight and the 3 hours that we've seen tonight, WWE doesn't deserve your attention going into next week. Seth Rollins continues to prove, not to me, because I already know, but to everybody why he is one of the most lamest champions in recent memory. More Bray Wyatt, more Fiend, an excellent Fatal 5-Way, where we seen Rey Mysterio challenge for the Universal Championship, and Braun Strowman, I can only hope, is coming home. All this plus so much more right here for Monday Night Raw on Off the Script.
Is this what you want? This fucking foliage? Is this what you want? Mr. Dips? Is this what you want? Me standing in front of EC3 buying designer coats? Is this what you want? Me sitting in some hipster hotel in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, fluffing pillows? Is this what you want? I don't believe this. This graffiti art, hipster hotels, avocado toast. All I want is a fucking Guinness. An ice cold Guinness. What the hell does that mean? Oh, this is what you wanted. This is your Monday Night Raw review right here on Off the Script.
Man, I don't know what it is. I really don't. I really don't. It's like I watch and I don't understand. How can 3 hours of professional wrestling be this painfully boring? It's unbelievable to me how you have this amount of talent and this show was that boring at the end of the night. I can't figure it out. The draft, I don't even think the draft can save this show. I mean this wholeheartedly, man. The draft, this show needs a complete makeover. And with the amount of times that we heard season premiere from Michael Cole's mouth tonight, what does that even mean? Seriously, what does it mean? Clearly, we got a new logo. Are we going to get a new set? Are we going to get new theme music? What is a season premiere of Monday Night Raw? What is the Raw after WrestleMania? Isn't that the reset for the entire year? What have we been watching for the last, 20 weeks? Were we watching all reruns? Being that next week is the season premiere of Monday Night Raw? I don't get it. If I don't see new theme music, if I don't see a new stage, if I don't see something new on Monday Night Raw next week, God help me. God help me, man. Seth Rollins is so boring. He is so painfully boring, man. I remember growing up, I feel so sorry. I really do. And he's blocked me on social media. I couldn't give a single shit. He blocked me because he is a PUSSY. He can't handle the criticism. Meanwhile, I think he's an amazing athlete. I was pro Seth Rollins. But I can't stand this version of who we got, man. This guy needs a heel turn as bad as they come. Nothing that this man says resonates with the audience. I feel so bad for the little children watching today's product, man. Back in the day, we had Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect and Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin, all these guys to look up to, right? Shawn Michaels. We had all these different guys to look up to. This is who our children, your children, today have to look up to. I don't believe it, man. I would feel sorry. If I had kids of my own, I would say, son, this is not what a champion should be. Then I'll proceed to turn to the WWE Network and turn on the 1993 King of the Ring. That, in Bret Hart, is a champion. This is pathetic. Seth Rollins, they can't get this title off of him any sooner. It has to come. And God help me if it doesn't come at Hell in a Cell. Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio. Excellent Fatal 5-Way tonight. We're going to talk about that. And you know what? Ricochet was the first one eliminated. I didn't even give a shit. I feel like WWE actually made some sense out of everything that happened in that match. And we're going to talk about it because that was the highlight of my 3 hours this evening. Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins in the main event. Clearly, they did it to set up another Fiend interference. And I don't know why we seen another Strowman and Rollins match to begin with. But they did it simply for Bray Wyatt. Chad Gable and Baron Corbin. Again, another great match. But what else is new with Chad Gable? We're going to go over why that happened and why I think this could be ultimately a waste of time if Chad Gable doesn't, in the end, get the victory over Baron Corbin. And the women's division, man, is in shambles as always. No matter how great Sasha Banks is, this women's division is absolutely god-awful. WWE has shown you time and time and time again that they don't know how, nor do they care, to book a women's division. That is painfully obvious moving forward with Sasha Banks being back on Monday Night Raw. We're going to go over all this today right here on the podcast. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here tonight. This is your Monday Night Raw review for Monday, September 23rd, 2019. You guys are getting an Off the Script Extra tomorrow afternoon. There will be no SmackDown review podcast tomorrow night. I will be in Manhattan. I will be at the PlayStation Theater. I will be seeing Alter Bridge live for a 7th time for their first leg of their Walk the Sky tour. It is going to be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see what they do in New York City. So the SmackDown review either is coming very late on Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning. So look out for that. But I got an extra for you guys. I got you guys covered on Tuesday afternoon so you can get your wrestling fill right here on Off the Script. So that is a scheduling note. So be on the lookout for that. And I got to shout out my boy, Big Hodge Media. He is having a season premiere of his own. Season 2 of the Big Hodge Media podcast. Now, if you guys don't know who Big Hodge is, for everybody that loves Mr. Dips, Big Hodge is... Who is fucking bothering me? Sal Rex, bro, listen. You're going off on my iPad, bro. I told you what the thumbnail is. I'll get back to you in a second. I got to talk about Big Hodge, and then I got to talk about Blue Chew. But Big Hodge, if you guys love Mr. Dips, then Big Hodge is in charge of the intro that you see on Monday Night Raw, and he is the head of production over at House of Glory, and he is a fucking wizard when it comes to the production side of things, man. If you guys need any just tech advice, or if you just want lifestyle advice, if you guys want to check him out, Big Hodge has got a season premiere of his own on the Big Hodge Media podcast. I'm going to leave you guys a link for his stuff and his YouTube channel down below. I want you guys to go sub to him. You listen to me now, okay? You guys sat through 3 hours of Monday Night Raw, and you come here specifically to talk to me. I want you guys to go over there and sub to Big Hodge. Let's get him to 1,000 subs on YouTube. He is a very good friend of mine, and he is one of those guys that I know just makes me better every single day, man. He is such a hard worker, and he puts so much fucking effort into everything that he does. And if you guys watched Being the Elite today, some of you didn't like it, some of you did, but if you guys watched Being the Elite today, Private Party cut a promo in that particular episode. Who do you think was in charge of that one? Big Hodge. So make sure you guys go check him out. Leave a comment down below. Let me know that you subscribed. And make sure you guys check the description and go subscribe to Big Hodge Media on YouTube. Today's podcast is brought to you, and this is the last week, sadly. This is the last week, unless they want to sign me on for more, man. Today's podcast is brought to you by Blue Chew. So many comments last week about the Blue Chew ad, man. So many comments. I'm glad you guys enjoy my creativity. Now, I know it's difficult for you guys. After tonight, man, if you're laying next to your girl or your wife, I don't know how Blue Chew is going to help you with this one. This show was awful. But Monday night, you're watching Raw, and after it's all over, you go to bed, and you try and get some rest before a full day of work on Tuesday, and your wife and your girlfriend want to fool around. You look at her and say, honey, Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins again in the main event. We just seen it at Clash of Champions. I am feeling so unmotivated this week. I'm going to have to put off alone time again this week. But why? Please. I don't care about Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins. I want you to be the architect on me, man. Listen, I know Seth Rollins as Universal Champion, guys, just leaves you feeling uninspired. Don't let Monday Night Raw leave you flaccid. Get Blue Chew. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know that they work. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, and they're chewable. They work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready whenever the Fiend wants to break out his mandible claw. Listen, your wife or your girlfriend will be on her back, just like Braun Strowman was, but instead of the Fiend, she'll be dealing with your mandible claw. So make sure you guys go and check out Blue Chew, man. Blue Chew gives you that extra function to enhance your performance in the bedroom. It's just not for guys who can't perform. Blue Chew is prescribed online and shipped straight to your door in a very discreet package, so no in-person doctor visits, no waiting in the pharmacy, and best of all, no more awkwardness. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy. Right now, I've got a special deal for all people listening to Monday Night Raw right here on Off the Script. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when you use special promo code JD. All you guys have to do is pay the $5 shipping, guys. Once again, that's BlueChew.com. Break out your mandible claw tonight on the wife and use promo code JD and try Blue Chew for free. Monday Night Raw started off tonight with the champion of the universe, Seth Rollins. And as you guys can tell in the excitement that I have in my voice right now, this segment was god-awful. Nothing about this segment spoke to me in any way whatsoever. Not as far as Seth Rollins goes as a fighting champion, not for Hell in a Cell, and the only thing that I picked up on in this segment was the fact that Seth Rollins is the embodiment of what Roman Reigns was to WWE television from 2015 all the way up until 2018. And that's not something Seth Rollins wants to emulate or duplicate whatsoever. Because he's walking down that path, and right now he is absolutely failing miserably. Seth entered the ring and he looked very serious. He's talking about Bray Wyatt. You gotta get serious for a second. I wish Monday Night Raw was fucking serious on a week-to-week basis, but we know it's not because it's booked by children. He said over the last 7 years, he's done a lot in the ring and he's seen a lot in between the ropes. But he's never felt the way he felt last week on Raw. He said he was defenseless in the corner of the ring after being hugged by 5 dudes, and then the living embodiment of a nightmare was right up in his face. The Monday Night Raw logo, of course. That is the living embodiment of a nightmare. 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. I know that would make me lose sleep at night. He said he has no fight left in him, and it's all he could do. And all he could do is close his eyes and hope it's a bad dream, and he's going to wake up. But it's not. He said it's worse because in less than 2 weeks, he has to step in the ring against the Fiend. He said he doesn't need to tell the fans what the Hell in a Cell structure is capable of. He said it shortens careers. He said stepping inside Hell in a Cell against Bray is something else. He says what he's going to do is what he always has done when his back is against the wall. I survive and I prevail. He noted that he survived and prevailed against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam and the same against Braun Strowman at Clash of Champions. He then went on to say, I shall survive and I shall prevail. Like it's going to be the next fucking thing that you see on a t-shirt, which I am assuming we're going to see next week on Monday Night Raw. I guarantee you for the season premiere, we see a new Seth Rollins t-shirt. Survive and prevail. In this case, yes, make your money now off the t-shirt, because when he gets inside Hell in a Cell, he will not survive and he will not prevail. Simple. If Bray Wyatt doesn't walk out of Hell in a Cell as the Universal Champion, then all hope is lost. Because there's no way that Seth Rollins is walking into that structure leaving with the championship. It doesn't make any sense. You're booking Bray Wyatt in a match this soon for the Universal Championship. You have no way out but one. Universal Championship. That is it. I don't want to see no lame fucking DQ. I don't want to see an interference where the fucking structure comes crumbling down and someone interferes on the outside. I don't want to see Braun Strowman rip doors off or rip hinges off. There is no DQ inside Hell in a Cell. So get it out of your head now. I don't want to see a rematch. I don't want to see it happen again and again and again. I want it to happen once. I want to see it once. And I want to be done and over with this title reign. It is god awful. God awful. It's bad enough you put us through Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. Now you're giving him Bray Wyatt. So what was the point of doing all that Brock Lesnar bullshit if this is where you wanted to go? I said it from day one. I don't think WWE realized how white hot the Fiend was going to be. But when you bury somebody on TV for 4 years and then you bring him back looking like the Fiend, then you got no choice but to put the Universal Championship on him. So out comes Braun Strowman, of course. Of course Braun Strowman comes out. So Braun walked up to Seth. He then asks for a microphone. So Braun said if Seth has something to say to him, say it to his face. He says he doesn't run around pretending to be Mr. Rogers and playing psycho games with puppets. He said he lets his opponents know if he has a problem with them, then talk to me face to face. When Seth began to speak directly to Braun Strowman, Braun cut him off and said he wasn't done. Braun said he wanted to know what he meant when he said he hoped he doesn't get a rematch for the Universal Championship. Seth says that's not what he said. He says he has a lot on his plate right now, including Bray in 2 weeks, plus next week on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw, he has to defend against the winner of tonight's Fatal 5-Way. He said he was just happy he didn't have to fight Braun again on the way to doing all this other shit, because he has a lot on his plate, you know. He's a fighting champion and wants to defend the title and wants to call himself the best wrestler on the planet, but he's got a lot on his plate, so he doesn't want to give Braun Strowman a rematch. I don't know how you have the gall to say such things and you don't want to give Braun Strowman a rematch. If you were such a fighting champion, you'd be like, Braun, I'll give you another rematch for the Universal title tonight on top of my defense next week, and then on top of that, my defense against Bray Wyatt inside Hell in a Cell. What happened, champ? What happened? I guess you're not that defending champion that we all hoped you were. Anyway, Braun was getting in his face, and he might want to face him tonight. Braun said if that's a challenge, tonight he's going to get these hands. So there you go. I didn't like this at all. This sounded completely forced. This sounded unnatural. This sounded just over the top scripted. I mentioned this on social media, man. I don't have anything against Colby, the performer, the man behind Seth Rollins. I don't. I think he is absolutely fantastic. He is a damn good fucking professional wrestler. The Seth Rollins character portrayal on this show is downright nauseating. And when I mean this is reaching Roman Reigns 2015 to 2018 levels of bad, I mean that wholeheartedly, and I'm not the only one in this community who thinks that. Now, Rollins, if he turned heel and he went back to being a prick, that would help. That would start the rehabilitation of Seth Rollins. But right now, everything that this man says is just emotionless. The fans tonight were actually booing him. The fans tonight were cheering when Bray Wyatt and The Fiend were mentioned. And I know WWE heard that indifference. Now, they can push Bray Wyatt as a heel all they want, but come Hell in a Cell, Bray Wyatt is getting a baby face reaction in that structure against Seth Rollins. Because they all feel the same way. They all want Bray to win, and they don't care about Seth Rollins. Nothing that this man says emanates with the crowd. And you're calling this man your Universal Champion. Doesn't work that way. If he was the champion of the people, and he was a champion that people legitimately wanted to see go out there and defend the title, then he wouldn't be getting any indifference. He wouldn't be getting boos. And, partially, that's his fault. That's his fault. He just comes off in a way that is just nauseating. But it's also WWE's fault as well. They push, and push too hard. And people know that WWE is forcing someone upon them. This is exactly what they did with Roman. They're forcing Seth Rollins upon everybody. And now the backlash, as soon as the crowd gets a taste of someone that much cooler and someone that they would rather see more so than the champion, in this case Seth Rollins, then that's when the fans turn and they go with the other guy. That's exactly what they did with Roman Reigns and everybody who WWE threw in his way. And I don't think Seth Rollins can be rehabilitated from this shit. It's over. You have one way in and one way out at Hell in a Cell. Bray Wyatt walks in as challenger. Bray Wyatt walks out as champion. There's no fucking ifs, ands, or buts about it. Seth Rollins, by the indifference, is all I need to know that this man's championship reign is a complete failure. And I don't want to hear about, oh, JD, you're a sheep. Everybody's turning against Seth Rollins. You were never a fan of Seth Rollins. You were always against Seth Rollins. This is not the fact. People want to spew their own agenda. And meanwhile, I've been sitting here for fucking months talking about how Seth Rollins had one shot last year and WWE dropped the ball. I loved everything about Seth Rollins as Intercontinental Champion last year, and WWE dropped the ball because it was real, it was organic, and he actually felt like a champion. I don't know who this is or what he feels like, but he certainly feels like somebody that I don't want on my TV representing this company as Universal Champion. And I'm sorry to say that. It's not me turning on Seth Rollins. It's WWE who turned on Seth Rollins long ago and has put him in this position. It's over. It's over. I want to care about him, but when they do this and they have him go out there and spew this bullshit that sounds so forced and so scripted, I can't get behind what he's saying. Of course everybody's going to go with The Fiend. His title reign is dead. Mandible Claw, and that's it. Bray Wyatt walks out of Hell in a Cell as the Universal Champion. The OC, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows with AJ Styles. The OC has new theme music. I like it. I like it. I need to hear it more, and it'll grow on me even more, but I like it. It's much better than what they were coming out to. And AJ Styles has his theme music. They got to get rid of that shit, too. He could use a big update as far as theme music goes himself. They went 2-on-2 against the Viking Raiders. This was pretty decent, man. They gave these guys 11 minutes. And it was a damn good tag team match. I'm glad to see that this went the 11-minute mark. And it's great because at the end of this thing, the Viking Raiders didn't get much going into the match. And that's WWE's fault. Every time I see the Viking Raiders entrance, I blame WWE. They did not put anything behind them for months. So when they come out, that's WWE's fault for their lack of audience reaction. But when they won this match, I was so happy to see the audience were on the side of the Viking Raiders. They did Thor's Hammer, and that was it. I refuse to call it whatever fucking Michael Cole is calling because it sounds so stupid. They won with Thor's Hammer, and they beat the OC. And you know what? Even though it is main roster tag team wrestling, it could have been so much better than it was. Not going to complain. It went 11 minutes. The right team won. And they're taking something that happened a couple of weeks ago. with that scramble match that they did, that gauntlet match, where Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler won the right to face Strowman and Rollins at Clash of Champions pay-per-view. The Viking Raiders and the OC got double disqualified for not adhering to the referee's orders. So I like the fact that they're taking what they did in that match, and it took them a little bit, but they put them in a tag team match here with the right team winning. And if you're looking at what's to come in the future, you know, the War Raiders, the Viking Raiders, are a babyface tag team. And they would be much better against Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. So not only did they look good, they finally got a little bit of a crowd reaction. Hopefully that continues. Hopefully Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler can continue to bring that out of them. And more than likely, they're getting a shot at the tag team championship. So the War Raiders are finally getting their shot on Monday Night Raw. But I just hope it's not too little too late. Because what WWE did to them was inexcusable. And I still think they should be back down on NXT. So I'm going to give this a shot, see where it goes. But if the War Raiders are going up against Ziggler and Roode, that could be a dark horse match at Hell in a Cell that could potentially be one of the best matches of the night. So we'll see what happens with that. They win with Thor's Hammer. Very good tag team match. Glad to see both teams got enough time to get their shit in. Michael Cole interviewed Becky Lynch backstage. I much rather Michael Cole in these situations. He's so good when he's in this role. I would much rather him do this and be away from the commentary desk. That is one of the changes I so desperately want to see on Monday Night Raw. Michael Cole can no longer be the voice of Monday Night Raw. You need new blood on this show. You're talking about a season premiere and you're talking about a complete reset going into the Fox deal with SmackDown Live. Monday Night Raw is going to be feeling that as well. With the draft, Michael Cole needs to be gone. This is the type of thing he needs to start doing. He interviewed Becky backstage. He said it was Sasha's idea to challenge her for the Raw Women's title at Hell in a Cell. But it was her choice to have the match inside the Hell in a Cell. Now, Michael Cole asked if it was a wise decision considering Sasha is on a hot streak, which made me roll my eyes a little bit. Hot streak, yes, Sasha is hot. That's a given fact. But a hot streak? I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. She's looked weak the last couple times out. She beat Natty in 4 minutes, clean. And she won by DQ at the Clash of the Champions pay-per-view. But on a hot streak? I don't know if those are the right words to use in this situation. She said she cannot make history on her own. She needs strong opponents. And I love the fact that she said that because that is a complete just shitting on WWE Creative. Not indirectly, because obviously they gave her this script, but they knew Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans was dog shit for 3 months. So I love the fact that she said that. She cannot make history on her own. She needs strong opponents. And I've been saying this for weeks. Becky Lynch needs to be in the ring with people who are equivalent to her or greater. That's why Charlotte and Becky made history. That's why Becky and Ronda made history. That's why Sasha and Becky will write their own chapter of history inside Hell in a Cell. She said the cell isn't to keep Bayley out, it's to keep Sasha in. I don't think Sasha's going to have a problem being in. The only way she can win if she's in. So I don't think she's going anywhere. Becky says she wants Sasha on a hot streak. Becky said the only way for Sasha to run through the exit is through her. Becky then went on to say sometimes you go to the ring looking for victory. Other times you look for revenge. She said Sasha tried to end her with chair shots. So at Hell in a Cell, she will have her chance. She better take it because she knows I will. And that was the end of that. Very good stuff by Becky. Very good stuff. She didn't stutter. It was very direct, very concise, very simple. Michael Cole asked the right questions pertinent to the storyline. Can't really complain about it. Can't really complain about it at all. Very good segment with both Michael Cole and Becky Lynch. Rusev versus, oh my goodness, he is alive! EC3. Get this man back down on NX3, or NXT, please. Seriously. Rusev versus EC3. This went 2 minutes. Rusev looks fantastic. But I know a few of my guys were texting me tonight. Why does Rusev look so weird? Why does Rusev look so thin? Because he legitimately wants to be on TV. He worked on his physique, which I respect wholeheartedly. And that is definitely one of the things that WWE is going to look at. At least he's trying. He's doing everything he can to try. I think he looks great. The mustache is a little iffy to me, but we'll see how that goes. But Rusev was brought back to TV in this Maria Kanellis storyline, where WWE now is including Maury Povich. Yes, I kid you not, Maury Povich. And I'm going to show you now what they did on Twitter. They tagged Maury Povich in this Maria Kanellis and Mike Kanellis, who's the baby's father storyline. And they got Maury Povich to tweet WWE saying that he'll show up on Monday Night Raw if and when they need a paternity test. Let's go to the footage.
Maria, Mike, Rusev, no need to fight it out in the ring. If you're looking for a paternity test, give us a call.
So Rusev beat EC3 in 2 minutes. A Machka kick and an accolade. EC3 looked like a fool. He looked like a fool. Get him out of there. Send him back down to NXT. Just save this guy's, not even career at this point, save this guy's fucking mentality. He is probably jumping out of his skin right now. Save this guy's just mental well-being and send him back down to NXT. I can't imagine what EC3 is thinking being on Monday Night Raw. But Rusev, my God, man. How WWE dropped the ball on this. An impromptu return, and they bring him back for Maria Kanellis and Mike Kanellis, who's the baby's father. Now they're getting Maury Povich involved. This is what you get, WWE. Rusev showed up last week in this god-awful storyline that doesn't need to be on television. And then you bring him back tonight to have a nothing match against EC3. And there's chance of we want Lana. That's dropping the ball on Rusev's return. You've already buried him. Now you bring him back and he's already buried. And he looks great. This guy has one thing and one thing left to do in WWE. Leave. The only way Rusev can be saved is if he bounces with Lana and he goes down to Jacksonville. That's it. The guy needs to get the fuck out ASAP. If this is what they brought him back for, they have no plans for Rusev whatsoever. This guy's contract is coming up and he needs to leave immediately. And I don't know what his contract situation is. I don't know why WWE brought him back for this instead of something just a little bit more important. They could have easily saved him for a big moment in the draft. And they might still be planning to do that. But with them, I don't know. I doubt it very, very, very much. But instead of doing that, they brought him back for this. Now, I can only imagine that Rusev is on their shit list. Otherwise, he wouldn't be put in this situation. I know him and Lana were on Lillian Garcia's podcast, and they were very upset about how they were being used creatively. No matter who they are speaking to, whether it's a WWE-affiliated podcast like Lillian Garcia's Chasing the Glory, or social media, if you put it out there that you are unhappy, they will make you unhappy. This is what I have learned watching this product and watching how things transpire on social media and in the podcast game. They complain that they were unhappy. Now WWE will make them forever unhappy. And the only way to get out is by contract being up and you go do what you got to do. I feel sorry for them. Buried. There's no saving them. This is a storyline that will kill them, and it already has. It's over. As soon as that We Want Lana chant started, Rusev and his return was dead. Backstage, Rey Mysterio talked about how he nearly retired a couple weeks ago, and now he's got a chance to become the Universal Champion with a win tonight And he will go on to fight Seth Rollins next week. He thanked Dominic for talking him past this moment of doubt, and he dedicated tonight's match to him. Now, I wonder if we see Dominic turn heel next week on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. Sasha Banks with Bayley versus Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. This one went 16 minutes. I wish this was in front of Full Sail and not San Francisco tonight. It would have been so much better. So much better. The match itself was good. Did it need to go 16 minutes? No. There was one too many deep arm drags in this one, and there was one too many submission moves in this one. But I loved how Nikki and Sasha worked together. In front of this crowd, they didn't appreciate a goddamn thing in this match until the very end. But I got an issue with two things. With WWE, number one, including Alexa Bliss in literally every main roster singles women's program. It happened with Becky and Lacey Evans. It happened with fucking Becky and Natalya. It happened with Becky and Sasha. Becky and Ronda. Everywhere you look, even on SmackDown, she's involved with Bayley and Charlotte. Everywhere you look, there's an Alexa Bliss running around in the background, foreshadowing the women's championships on Raw and SmackDown. Can I ask why? Now, I understand that you have about 6 women on the roster that you rinse and repeat, use every single week. Do we really need to see Alexa Bliss mingling around the other champions when she has absolutely nothing to do with them? WWE is forcing Alexa into these programs, and you know why. Because they want her to be more important than she's coming off on television right now. And next week, WWE booked on the season premiere Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks to further prove my point that she always hangs around the top of the women's division, whether she is doing nothing or she's in a major program. It's just pathetic. It really is so desperate. It comes off as desperate for WWE. But Sasha and Nikki Cross, this was good, but the crowd was fucking putting me to sleep. 16 minutes. This one really got good at the end. Alexa Bliss got involved because Bayley tried to jump on the ring apron after Nikki Cross gave Sasha Banks her twisting neck breaker. Then Bayley got on the ring apron. Alexa Bliss charged at Bayley, gave her a stiff right hand, and threw her into the timekeeper's area. I seen some animosity there. The way that Alexa Bliss threw Bayley into the timekeeper's area, it was a fuck you type throw. And I know that there's real life heat between Alexa and Bayley and Alexa and Sasha. Even when Sasha's in the ring and what she does to Alexa Bliss, I always pay attention because I love to see cheap shots against Alexa Bliss. So Bayley was thrown into the timekeeper's area, and this led Sasha Banks to get the bank statement on Nikki Cross. Nikki was on the top rope. She leapt off the top rope with a crossbody. Sasha rolled through the crossbody and applied the bank statement on Nikki Cross. Nikki tapped out, and Sasha wins. Now, the other thing that I mentioned that I have a problem with, Alexa being number one and always mingling around the singles championships and the major programs, even though she's got something going on with Nikki and the tag team championships, and this is the Andrade effect. Every time Andrade is in a match, he always has Zelina Vega, helping him, cheating to win a match. And it's just not against fucking top-tier opponents. It's against low-level guys. Apollo Crews, right? Why does Andrade need help against Apollo Crews? In this case, it's always a case of WWE booking a heel to be sly and cheat to win. Now, I'm glad Sasha won, but Sasha is going into Hell in a Cell with Becky Lynch. Don't you think Sasha could benefit from a clean victory with no outside interference? Just win on her own without any bullshit happening at ringside? I think she could use it because she hasn't looked as strong as I would like WWE to be booking her. And I have this weird feeling that WWE is going to give Sasha Banks what she's wanted for so long, and then, just as always, take it away from her. I am waiting for this woman to win the championship, and as soon as she wins it, I'm waiting for them to take the title from her. Or I'm waiting for them to bury Sasha Banks like they were doing back in 2018. I don't have a good feeling about this, because I'm starting to see little glimpses and little hints that WWE might be pulling back on Sasha Banks a little bit. It's not full-fledged, let's push Sasha Banks as the number one threat to Becky Lynch. I understand she can't look strong every week, but when you got Carmella coming out last week and standing tall above Sasha and Bayley, I got a fucking problem with that. I really do. Now, Sasha looked good here. I want the woman to start winning clean. She needs to beat Alexa Bliss clean. And what happens when she does? What happens when she beats Alexa Bliss? Does that mean that Bayley and Sasha Banks, not only did they beat both tag team champions individually, does that now mean collectively they get a tag team title shot? I would think so. In WWE land, I think that would constitute for a tag team title match. On top of Sasha getting the women's championship. Why not make a 2-woman power trip out of this thing and really push the heel objective here? I can only hope. But with WWE, the last couple weeks, I sense, I don't trust them at all, and neither should Sasha. I sense that they're pulling back just a little bit on the Sasha push. I think she goes into Hell in a Cell, she wins the women's championship, because I don't know how you bring this woman back under the pretenses of, yes, she's back, and then not give her the women's championship. It doesn't make any sense to me. This woman cannot lose at all. And she needs to start winning clean. And winning on her own. Because she's too good to ask for Bayley's help against fucking Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. Give me a break. That's just the way I see it. But Sasha Banks gets the victory over Nikki Cross. 16 minutes. It went a little too long. You could have shaved about 4 minutes off this thing. Too many submissions, too many arm drags. And the right one won here. Sasha Banks wins with the bank statement. Street Profits talked about the Fatal 5-Way. Enough talking. Get Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins in a tag team division, please. Get them in a ring on either Raw or SmackDown. They're not cool. They're obnoxious. And the funny thing is, I mentioned this and everybody feels the same way. They don't come off like this on NXT, only on Monday Night Raw. Get them in the ring and shut these guys up. I think with these main roster crowds that if you put the Street Profits in a tag team division on either Raw or SmackDown and you let them do what the Street Profits do, they're going to naturally get over. And I think WWE is lucky to have them. I just think they're foolish for not using them for a tag team situation. We don't need cheerleaders. We don't need hype men. We don't need fucking people reading cue cards about what the rest of the show is going to have throughout hour 2 and hour 3. Get them in the ring. They are too good to be standing here as hype men for a shitty wrestling program. Anyway. Ember Moon versus Lacey Evans. I got into it with some people on social media about this. I don't like it. I don't like it. I know a lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of people are going to complain. Listen, Ember Moon might not be your cup of coffee. Neither is Lacey Evans. I think Lacey Evans is horrific. I'm not going to say she doesn't have any upside, but what she does in that ring is not what I want out of someone in the women's division. It's not. She should have never left NXT. Now, Lacey Evans, I will say one thing before we get into this match with Ember Moon. Lacey Evans had this little viral video on social media, on Twitter, where she got pulled over and she video recorded a situation with a Canada police officer. And she was getting a ticket. And it was all staged because I don't know why the police officer would allow her to film this incident, number one. That would have been deaded immediately, I would assume. And I don't know why people were so bent out of shape over this situation. Now, the one thing I could really appreciate is when someone is so in the character that they live the character outside the walls of WWE, keeping the gimmick running. So when you see Lacey Evans, she's going to call you a nasty. When you see Lacey Evans, she's going to pat herself down with her handkerchief. And she's not going to touch you, and she's not going to take a picture with you. That's why we all love Tommaso Ciampa so much. That's what made his gimmick that much more just epic. Because he wasn't following anyone on social media. He wouldn't take a picture with you. He wouldn't look at you. He wouldn't say anything to you. He hated everybody. And that hatred not only was shown in the ring, but everywhere he went, he did that same exact thing. Same thing with Matt Hardy. When he was broken, everywhere he went, he lived the gimmick. You don't see that level of appreciation, not only for one's character, but to respect the business and keep kayfabe alive. So when Lacey Evans took a video of this ticket that she was being handed in Canada, I didn't mind it. I thought it was actually great. And people were complaining about it for whatever reason. I don't even know why people were complaining about it. But that level of appreciation to one's gimmick is rarely seen, and that has to be appreciated. Seriously, if you love the business as much as you say you do, then have fun with it. And she's having fun with it. And I think that's great. Now, I wish I could say the same thing about her wrestling ability, and I wish I could say the same thing about WWE pushing Ember Moon, but that's not the case. Ember Moon loses here, and she taps out to the sharp shooter. Lacey Evans beats Ember Moon. I mentioned before, Ember Moon might not be everybody's cup of coffee, but it's not Ember Moon's fault that you think she's boring. It's not Ember Moon's fault that she's not over and you hear crickets when she comes out. The War Goddess. This is WWE's fault. She was over in NXT. She was very over in NXT. Now, she might need to move back down to NXT. I would not be opposed to that. But this is WWE's fault. They called her up from NXT way too soon. They gave her absolutely nothing to do. Nothing of importance anyway. And then the one time that WWE finally started to use her was at SummerSlam in a championship match against Bayley. And the only reason why Ember Moon was booked against Bayley at SummerSlam was because there was no one else. There was no one else on the roster to take that position. So they figured, you know what? We don't give a shit about this match. Let's put Ember Moon in there. We'll get a new challenger for Bayley. We'll use someone different. And then right back to Charlotte we go. Because if WWE wanted to use Charlotte in that situation, then the fans would have shit all over it and it would have been too soon. And even though Ember Moon didn't do anything for a title shot, it's even worse when Charlotte gets a title shot and she does nothing to deserve it. That's the only reason why Ember Moon got a match at SummerSlam against Bayley. And here she is now with reports of Vince McMahon not being a fan of Ember Moon ever since that report came out. Loss. Here we are. Loss against Lacey Evans. Not just a loss, a tap-out loss to a sharpshooter that she applied terribly. I don't get it. This is WWE's fault. You did not give us any reason. I care. I'm not saying me or you. But you gave the fans no reason to care about Ember Moon at all. Nobody knows who she is. Nobody knows where she came from. Nobody knows why she's here. Nobody knows what she is. WWE put absolutely zero effort into building Ember Moon up in front of the main roster audience. And now that Ember Moon's not getting any reaction, they want to blame Ember Moon for being boring. It's WWE's fault. They didn't get behind her. She's not a blonde. She's not fucking sitting there with big tits and big ass and fucking fake this and fake that. She don't get pushed. That's the reality of the situation. And it sucks. And I can only hope that when the revival's up, Ember Moon, Rusev, these types of talent that are being so miscast and so misused that when their contracts are up, that WWE's payroll is looking a little lighter at the end of their contracts. Because they deserve all the opportunity. They deserve to work for someone who's actually going to put effort into building them up as a legit superstar. WWE clearly is not doing that with any one of these men and women. Ember Moon deserves better. I'm sorry if she's not your cup of coffee, but WWE put absolutely zero effort into making you care about Ember Moon, and this is the result. Lacey Evans wins with a sharpshooter. Firefly Fun House. We get, and I gotta say, the Firefly Fun Houses, man, they're looking a little dull being shot backstage in WWE. I know they can't all be grandiose and filmed on location where Bray Wyatt was in Pittsburgh when he was filming all those beginning ones. They just looked legit. It looked organic. It looked fun. It looked a little bit more fuller. And he looked in the element. It's nothing but a blue background and some makeshift fucking table with puppets popping up. This is WWE's version of the Firefly Funhouse live on Monday Night Raw. I appreciate that we're seeing a mixture of Mr. Rogers and Fiend, but the aesthetics of the Funhouse are very lacking in my eyes. They showed a picture of Kane, now added to his wall with the eyes of Kane crossed out. Bray hung another frame that had nothing but a black background. Who is it going to be? Who is it going to be? I guess we found out tonight, huh? There's always room for one more, he said. And he started to laugh. The rabbit yanked a Sept doll out of the pig's mouth. Huskus the pig was eating a Seth Rollins Mattel action figure. Don't tell Grimm's Toy Show. He might have a heart attack. But Ramblin' Rabbit yanked a Seth Rollins doll out of Huskus the pig's mouth. Huskus burped. Bray said they're supposed to be best friends. And why fight over Seth? The rabbit, Ramblin' Rabbit, then said that both he and Huskus love Seth Rollins. Bray said the lesson is if you love something too much, you become weak and vulnerable to feelings like disappointment, neglect, and loneliness. I think that statement is 100% accurate. I love that. He said he knows what it's like to be abandoned by those you love most. Rambling Rabbit then said they don't want the Fiend to hurt Seth Rollins in any way. Bray then got a little angry. He said maybe the Fiend wants to protect Seth Rollins. He never forgets. He doesn't like to share. But I think you two can. He then tore the Seth Rollins doll into two pieces. Bray took the Seth Rollins doll and he broke him in half. His upper torso and his lower torso. He then gave the two pieces to Rambling Rabbit and Huskus the pig. Sharing is caring. And that was pretty much it. He looked into the camera. He looked all maniacal and angry. And then he went into happy mode again. And he said, see you in hell. See you in hell. That was pretty much it. So I love the fact that we're getting Bray Wyatt mixed into the show with the Firefly Funhouse. And I love the little hidden meetings behind everything. And I love the fact that he's building towards his match through the Funhouse. So it's great to see, and it's easily still one of the most enjoyable segments on a very boring edition of Monday Night Raw. R-Truth ran into the ring, and we had Mojo Rawley, Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder, Drake Maverick, Kalisto, Lince Dorado, who, by the way, just got a shot at the Cruiserweight Championship against Humberto Carrillo and Drew Gulak at Clash of Champions, and he's right back to chasing the 24/7 Championship. I don't know, man. I have no words. Though Brian Alvarez said, expect an announcement on 205 Live or something concerning the future of 205 Live within the next 48 hours. We could finally see the announcement of 205 Live merging with NXT. And if last Wednesday was any indication with Leo Rush and Oney Lorcan, and that match being as great as it was, I'm assuming they're going to be integrated into the 2-hour NXT program, which would be fantastic. Because that gets 205 Live in a much better position. The Cruiserweight Championship can be defended on takeover shows, and you get those guys, however many there are, 10 to 12 guys there on 205 Live, get them into Full Sail, and they'll be in front of a crowd that actually gives a shit. But the 24/7 title, bullshit happened. Carmella told Truth that this is stressing her out. She can't do it anymore. Truth hugged her, and then she rolled up R-Truth and won the 24/7 title. Michael Cole was saying it was a double cross. She ran around the ring holding up the title. R-Truth was smiling, and he looked proud of her. And then all of a sudden, the women's locker room came out, and they started to chase off R-Truth and Carmella into the audience. The 24/7 title needs to be fucking incinerated I need it to be burned. Get rid of it. Just fucking kill it. I can't stand it. It's just awful television. It wasn't funny then. It was never funny. And it's not funny now. The only thing that we learned here, folks, is that we get to learn each and every week who's in catering on the men's side. And now we know who's in the catering side for the women. For the women. You had Dana Brooke. You had the Iconics. You had Sarah Logan out there. It's just awful television. Get rid of the title. King Corbin and Chad Gable. This was a rematch from last week and the King of the Ring finals that was. This was awesome. But we already knew that stemming from last week. Baron Corbin, I'm glad, came out with a new crown. He had a new scepter and a new robe. Now, it did look like he went to the Halloween store and bought a crown, a scepter, and a robe and just said, I'm looking for wardrobes that remind you of a king. Well, he went to go look for some king-inspired outfits at the Halloween store. That's exactly what he looked like here. Though the black crown and the black scepter and the black robe does fit him good. I don't know what WWE's thinking about with that mashup of his theme music. There's no reason, and I mean this with every fiber of my being, there's no reason to add majestic royal theme to Baron Corbin's already awesome theme song. You don't need a mashup here. It's bad enough you're gonna call him King Corbin. We know he's the king. We don't need to hear it. Don't change his theme song and don't fuck with his theme song in any which way. Just send him out there with his regular theme, please. Just end the mashup. It's just terrible. I hate it. This was awesome. This went 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Yes, it's awesome. Yes, we know that Chad Gable is great. Yes, we know that Gable and Corbin work very good together. But folks, when I tell you that this was the same exact match with the same exact sequence as last week, I am not kidding you. Down to the very last sequence, this was the same exact match. I don't know why WWE wanted to book this as a rematch. I don't know why WWE wanted to give us Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman, but it's just lazy writing. And the only thing I can think of is WWE's in the mindset of, well, we got 3 weeks until the draft. We're just going to coast and give the fans rematches until we shake things up with the draft. That's lazy writing. That's lazy writing. You can give us new storylines and integrate those new storylines with the new additions that you got with the draft coming over to Monday Night Raw. I don't like that at all. It's literally the same exact match. And the difference is, yes, it was the same exact match. Yes, we know it was awesome. But last week, it meant something. Last week was for the King of the Ring. This week, it meant nothing. Now, I was thinking the only reason why this match was happening was for Vince McMahon to send Baron Corbin out there and get at least one short joke on Chad Gable, which, indeed, he did. The match ended up being awesome. The match ended in a DQ because Gable had a ankle lock on Corbin. So he got to the bottom rope. He got to the corner. And with his crown and his robe hanging in the corner, also in the corner was his scepter. He grabbed the scepter and he nailed Chad Gable with the scepter, intentionally getting himself disqualified, and then he continued to beat on Chad Gable with the scepter. Fans booed, and Chad Gable wins by DQ. Now, I don't understand where they're going with this. I am ecstatic that Chad Gable is as over with the crowd again. Not only at the last week, but just as much, if not more, this week. But what is the end result here? There's only one end result. I don't know why you would put Chad Gable in this situation only to lose. The end result here has to be Chad Gable beating Baron Corbin. Because you've already told me the King of the Ring means nothing to you. So why not have Chad Gable beat the King of the Ring? It's only right. Corbin was a made man before he won the King of the Ring. This is only enhancing Chad Gable now. Baron Corbin has been doing so good. If he goes and lays down for Chad Gable, that's a huge step in the right direction for building Chad Gable up as a credible babyface that this crowd can get behind. If they don't have him win at the end of this thing, I don't see what the fucking point is. And don't tell me, oh, well, JD, you hear those reactions. Yeah, I want to hear those reactions, and I want to associate those reactions with a winner, not a loser. Because if he loses, he's got more of an opportunity to not be on TV. I want him to get those reactions and win. I just want them to have some sort of plan for him. Don't have him lose in the end. Please. Chad Gable needs to get the W at the end of all this. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. This was awesome. We had another AOP vignette. This was a new one, not the same one as last week. They said they will show people who AOP are. They stood up, and this was actually live. This was actually, or filmed for live TV. They stood up, they walked out of the room, and they seen two bystanders who were, I believe, No Way Jose and Heath Slater. So they beat them up in the hallway, and then they went back to recording this promo, and they were fixing their suits and ties. And then they cut back to their chairs. He said, no one is hard enough to fight them. Now you've seen it all for yourselves. Is everyone in the WWE supposed to be intimidated by AOP because they beat up No Way Jose and Heath Slater? I don't understand that. Yeah, it was a good promo. Yeah, I'm excited to see where they're going with this. But Heath Slater and No Way Jose, you could have made it a little bit more believable, guys. Really. Now, I pitched the idea of AOP joining Luke Harper and Eric Rowan on SmackDown to team against Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and returning Usos. Don't throw them to Monday Night Raw and give them enhancement talent. We know what these guys can do. Throw them in there with top talent and let's see what they can do. I love that idea. It would give the Usos a returning tag team to feud with. That's not the fucking New Day or the Revival. And it gets AOP in a situation where they've already showed you they can hang with Roman Reigns because they were in a main event. I don't know if it was late last year or early this year. They were already in a main event with Roman Reigns and they did fantastic. Throw them into the spotlight and let's see what they can do. They're two guys that size that we know can dominate. We don't need to see them beat up enhancement talent. We know what they can do. Put them in the ring with some credible talent on SmackDown Live. Ricochet, Rey Mysterio, Robert Roode, AJ Styles, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Fatal 5-way, number one contenders match for the Universal Championship. I mentioned this at the top of the show. Ricochet is the odd man out here. Ricochet is the odd man out. Ricochet does not even belong in this match. He's done nothing to even warrant a number one contender shot at the Universal Championship. And it pains me to say that, but WWE looks at Ricochet and they don't see anything but a 185-pound guy that does flips and dives. And he gets over by flipping and diving. That's all they see. Otherwise, he would have been a longer reigning United States champion. Otherwise, he would have lasted up until the very end. Ricochet is the odd man out here. So him getting eliminated first in this match did not bother me at all because he didn't belong there to begin with. Now, Rey Mysterio. Everybody's saying, well, JD, what about Rey Mysterio? Rey Mysterio doesn't belong there either. Yeah, but Rey Mysterio is actually in a storyline now with his son Dominic, where he was about to retire and Dominic convinced him to unretire. So clearly, they're going somewhere with Rey Mysterio. So by process of elimination, Ricochet was the odd man out. You're not going to beat Bobby Roode because he's one half of the tag team champions. You're not going to beat AJ Styles because he's a United States champion. You're not going to beat Shinsuke Nakamura because he's the Intercontinental champion. And by default, the Intercontinental Championship is the second most important championship behind the WWE and Universal Championship. So, in reality, if you really want to fucking dive into this thing, the Intercontinental Champion is the number one contender for the WWE Championship. In this case, he's on Monday Night Raw fighting for the Universal Championship for whatever reason. I don't know. But he's the Intercontinental Champion. So, by process of elimination, Ricochet is eliminated. He's the odd man out. I did not mind that he was the first one gone at all. So, first elimination went to Ricochet. He was eliminated because Nakamura entered and gave Ricochet a Kinshasa after Ricochet took Bobby Roode out with a recoil. Nakamura was on the outside sleeping. Traditional of these multi-person matches in WWE. Kinshasa eliminates Ricochet. That's it. Second elimination was Nakamura. So this one happened when Nakamura tried to hold Roode in position for a phenomenal forearm. Roode moved and Styles hit Nakamura. Instead, Styles pinned Nakamura. Rude then instantly gave Styles a glorious DDT for the win. AJ Styles has been eliminated. JD, why is Bobby Roode in there? Well, Bobby Roode pinned the Universal Champion at Clash of Champions, folks. He pinned Seth Rollins at the pay-per-view, so that's why he's there. AJ Styles is there because he's the United States Champion. He's also the second most important guy behind Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. So this mostly made sense. And you can see how much Paul Heyman loves Bobby Roode. The fact that he lasted up until the very end, the fact that he pinned Seth Rollins at the pay-per-view, the fact that he had a main event match last week against Seth Rollins, and then this week, he lasted up until the final elimination in this Fatal 5-Way. Rey Mysterio earns a match against Seth Rollins. It's down to Rude and Rey. Rey set up for the 619. Rude surprised Rey with a spine buster, and Rey, very resilient as always, landed another 619, climbed to the top rope, big splash, 3 count, and Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins is your main event next week. I'm actually looking forward to that because I think that is going to kill it. Kill it. Now, we might see The Fiend as always, and being that Rey Mysterio is a legend, I could see Bray Wyatt giving the mandible claw to Rey Mysterio. So we'll see what happens. But this was awesome. Down the stretch, this was awesome. This was a great Fatal 5-Way. It did exactly what it needed to do. After 2.5 hours of sitting through this bore fest, we finally got something on this show that was worth my liking. Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. This was the main event. This was clearly set up to see what would happen with The Fiend. This match was not exciting at all. I don't know why they go about booking these rematches because it makes the first match, it's never going to live up to the first match. They built some sort of importance in that match at Clash of Champions, and they go right back to doing this match. There's no way they're going to recreate what they did at Clash of Champions. Not with Braun Strowman and his minuscule ability in the ring, He can't even wrestle himself out of a fucking wet paper bag. You're going to put him in the match against Seth Rollins again to try and replicate what he did at Clash of Champions? He's lucky he got a great match out of Braun Strowman. Did Seth Rollins at Clash of Champions. You expect him to do it again? Come on, man. I don't think so. This clearly was done to get another situation with The Fiend at the end of the match. So Braun went for a running power slam at the end of this thing, and predictably, and not suddenly, because we all expected it, The Fiend's music played, the lights went out, Fiend gave Strowman the mandible claw, Braun got up again after the first mandible claw, started to charge at Bray Wyatt, and The Fiend took him out again with another mandible claw. The camera was zooming in and out of Bray Wyatt. They zoomed in on Seth Rollins, who was sitting in the corner again, terrified. Seth Rollins is a Pussy, a pussy. And this man is going to win the Universal Championship match at Hell in a Cell. I think not. So The Fiend was laughing maniacally as he gave the mandible claw to Braun Strowman. Seth was in the corner. He was frozen in fear. The Fiend turned around to Seth, who looked, again, afraid, and he was almost paralyzed. And that's the way the show went off the air. Fade to black. All you hear is Bray Wyatt's maniacal laugh on repeat, and Monday Night Raw's black screen faded out to black at the 11 o'clock hour. I am not any more excited for the Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt match. It was, I would say, predictable. It wasn't exciting. But the hopes of Bray Wyatt winning the Universal Championship are there. They have to. I don't want to hear anybody. But the one thing I am worried about here, not really worried, but the one thing I am worried about for WWE's sake, how do you keep Braun Strowman relevant after this situation? He's lost the Tag Team Championship. He's lost the Universal Championship opportunity against Seth Rollins. He was about to beat him again here tonight until The Fiend made his presence. And then he got mandible clawed not once, but twice. The only logical situation here is for Bray Wyatt to come home. Bray Wyatt needs to come home, or Braun Strowman, rather, needs to come home to Bray Wyatt. That's it. That's it. Because the beginning of this show and the ending of this show, the beginning of this show showed you exactly that WWE is pretty much in this inevitability with Seth Rollins. He's inevitable right now. He's losing that championship. It's an inevitability. Braun Strowman is someone without any direction or plans. So he's done. There's no more plans for Braun Strowman. This reeked of not knowing what to do. Unless they're moving him to SmackDown Live via the draft, there's nothing more for Braun Strowman to do. He's either going to SmackDown or he's coming home to Bray Wyatt. I don't know what else you do with Braun Strowman at this point. The guy is absolutely a lost soul on this show. And after tonight, that was more than obvious. I don't know what else to tell you with this episode of Monday Night Raw. That wasn't exciting, but it leaves Braun Strowman out there with basically nothing to do. Seth Rollins is looking weaker and weaker and weaker. You're making it an inevitability of him losing that championship. You got to go all the way with it now. But on the same side of the fence, what do you do with Braun Strowman? I don't know. Braun Strowman with Bray Wyatt is better than just Braun Strowman. Just going to throw that out there. I'm getting out of here, guys. Thank you so very much for all your support. Remember, no SmackDown Live review tomorrow unless it's very late or early Wednesday morning. And I got an off-the-script extra for you guys. Coming tomorrow, we're going to talk about David Benoit and his desire to work with All Elite Wrestling, the revival of yet to sign new deals with the WWE, and NFL commentators on Sunday Night Football or Sunday Afternoon Football on Fox label Rey Mysterio as Nacho Libre. My thoughts on all that stuff tomorrow. Off-the-script extra. Patreon's got it early tonight, so make sure you guys go and check that out. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that bell for all notifications. Follow and subscribe to Big Hodge Media on YouTube, and make sure you guys check out Blue Chew, BlueChew.com. That is BlueChew.com with code JD to try it for free. I'm getting out of here, guys. I'm sweating my balls off. Summer don't want to end. And I will be seeing Alter Bridge tomorrow, so expect plenty of pictures and video on Instagram and Twitter. Until then, guys, thank you so very much. Again, hit that thumbs up, and I will see you all right back here for SmackDown and Off the Script Extra. See you then.